All right, next vid. An American tourist sailed to North Sentinel Island. It ended badly.
On the 15th of November 2018, John Allen Chow took a boat to North Sentinel Island expecting a peaceful welcome. He never made it back home. Before we talk about who he was, what he was doing, and how he came to meet his fate, let's first talk about the island itself. Located in the Bay of Bengal between
Y'all know what North Sentinel Island is, right? I'm like fascinated by like tribal, not just like tribes in like Africa or like tribes in the Amazonian rainforest or something like that. I'm fascinated more by island tribes because they've literally been like alone for hundreds of thousands of years.
Outsiders as the Sentinelese, who have an estimated population of between 15 and 500 people.
We really don't know if they have 15 or 500. I mean, you also got to factor in, like, there's a lot of inbreeding going on there, right? Because, like, if you're the same tribe of people for 60,000 years, like, you can't leave. Like, you're only going to be getting with the people that are available.
However, there's a reason why taking an accurate measurement is almost impossible. They're unbelievably hostile to anybody who tries to visit the island. The first example of this came in 1867 when an Indian merchant ship wrecked on the island's reef, and while the 106 passengers might have thought that they'd stumbled upon paradise, this couldn't have been further from the truth. Without warning, the ship's crew were attacked by the tribe's bow and arrows, and were only able to—
I wonder what they think about life and, like, all of that. Do they— You know what's really crazy is, like, the contact there, like, with tribes in Africa or, like, the rainforest or something like that, like, they'll have contact with humans, right? Like, they know they're less advanced, right? Like, they know there's people that have, like, iPhones and shit. They just don't fuck with that, right? Like, that one guy that goes to the tribes and shares candy with them and stuff, like, they're bringing in cameras. Like, they know there's technology. The North Sentinelese know there's some stuff, but, like, they don't really know what, like, the outside world is like.
Returning fire with sticks and stones found on the beach. They were rescued by a British steamboat 1 week later, yet the captain of the shipwreck went on to describe the Sentinelese by writing, "The savages were perfectly naked with short hair and red painted noses, and were
perfectly naked.
Opening their mouth and making sounds like part on off. Their arrows appeared to be tipped with iron." The intriguing nature of the tribe
so they got iron.
led a party of armed British officials to return 13 years later in 1880, at which point they'd find, quote, "a network of pathways and several small villages that looked to have been freshly abandoned." They'd eventually find 4 Sentinelese children, as well as an elderly couple, who were kidnapped by the party and taken back to the nearby city of Port Blair. However, their stay didn't last very long, as all 6 Sentinelese sickened rapidly and the old man and his wife died.
That's why you can't really go there either. It's just because dude, right now on your body, you probably have shit that would kill them. Like, just going there. You probably have some weird fucking bacteria that they've never encountered.
So the 4 children were sent back to their home with quantities of presents. 16 years after this, a Hindu convict escaped on a makeshift raft from the adjacent Great Andaman Island, only to wash up 50 kilometers west in the worst place imaginable.
Imagine you're stranded in the middle of the ocean. I would shit my pants. Imagine you're on a boat trip, right? And you're passing, like, the India area, right? Around, like, what's under India? Because it's near India. What's the country under India? God damn it. It starts with an S. Sri Lanka. Imagine you're, like, taking a boat, like, around that area, and your boat crashes, and you're stranded for days. You start fucking, like, paddling towards what looks to be an island. You finally feel like you've been saved. And then you see this in the distance. You have a memory that takes you back to a YouTube video that you watched about North Sentinel Island. And you're fucked. Like, they're gonna murder you.
From the adjacent Great Andaman Island, only to wash up 50 kilometers west in the worst place imaginable, North Sentinel. A search party found his body lying on the beach pierced with iron.
Oh, never mind. Nah, maybe they felt bad for him and helped him. They bowed him down the second he stepped foot on the island.
arrows, with his death sending a clear enough message for nobody to return to the island for almost 80 years. However, in 1974, a film crew shooting a documentary called Man in Search of Man landed on the island to leave gifts.
We came at last to what is known as the North Sentinel Island. Although some expeditions had landed here, the Sentinelese had never been sighted. We left gifts of
So imagine you're like just boating like 200 yards away and they just drop shot the shit out of you with an arrow, like perfect aim, like fucking aiming like that, and that bitch just goes, just nails you in the head.
Coconuts, knives, lengths of cloth, a pig.
After which the Sentinelese were caught on camera for the very first time.
Oh, see, I'm getting nervous, dude. I don't want to see naked people.
Those moving shapes, are they human?
Or just said, are they human?
At last, the first glimpse of the Sentinelese. This tribe believes in total isolation. It will not tolerate a stranger.
As is obvious in the footage, the tribe had no interest in making friends, and rather buried half of the gifts they'd been given before shooting arrows toward the film crew.
A member of our film unit was wounded by one of the many arrows, each 2.5 meters long. He will carry...
Wow! The arrows are that big?
a scar till his death.
If on Google Maps you zoom into the coastline on the island's northwest corner, you'll find a different boat which now acts as a permanent reminder of North Sentinel's hostility and unrecoverability. The ship, going by the name of the MV Primrose, had been transporting farming supplies to Australia before it wrecked on the unfortunate location in 1981. The ship's passengers were incredibly lucky.
Dude, they might think that we're like demons. Like, imagine your whole lineage has lived on an island for 60,000 years.
Because at the time, this entire area was underwater, keeping them at a safe distance while they organized their rescue. In the meantime, the Sentinelese observed the ship from their beach, with the crew members describing the tribe as well-built, frizzy-haired, and black. They were naked except for narrow belts that circled their waists, and they were holding spears, bows, and arrows, which they had begun waving in a manner that seemed not altogether friendly. However, while almost every example so far displays the Sentinelese as an untouchable group of brutes, it would be exactly 10 years later when a single anthropologist did the impossible. He made peaceful contact for the very first time. T and Pandit had been dropping gifts and coconuts to the island every 1 or 2 months since 1967,
wow.
Although for the first 24 years of doing so, the Sentinelese maintained their hostility. But all of this changed on the 4th
For 24 years, they were hostile.
of January 1991, when the tribe finally concluded that he was only there to help. Pandit described this day in a 2000 interview with the American Scholar, which stated a great many of the Sentinelese started running down the beach and splashing through the surf toward the dinghy. The director leapt from the boat into chest-high water. One of the young Sentinelese
What language do they speak?
men recalled in fright and handed coconuts to the tribesmen.
Like, do they even have the capability to translate the language if they've had that little contact?
As they crowded around him. A few weeks later, he returned to North Sentinel with another expedition. This time,
Sentinelese, yeah, but there's no translation. They speak English. They don't fucking. I'm not even gonna fall for the gaslight from Yakinkin, dude.
several Sentinelese men went so far as to climb into the dinghy and grab entire sacks of coconuts. Pandit was alone in the water with a group
They
of
speak British.
Sentinelese. One of the young tribesmen looked at him, scowled, pulled out an iron-bladed knife, and made a gesture, Pandit says, like he was going to cut out my heart. Maybe he thought I was planning to stay on the island. But the dinghy quickly returned to pick Pandit up. He would return to North Sentinel several more times before retiring from the Anthropological Survey in 1992. The interaction showed that peaceful contact with the tribe was possible, although only after a significant period of trust building, and even after T and Pandit's unique interaction, the Sentinelese retained their hostility toward any unfamiliar outsider. For example, after the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake caused the worst tsunami in recorded human history right next to North Sentinel Island, a helicopter was sent out to see if the tribe had survived from such a catastrophic event. Well, not only were the Sentinelese
I think it's either the Sri Lankan or the Indian government made it like illegal to go there. Like, you're not supposed to go there. because people don't want, like, you're supposed to just allow them to live their life, right?
Is somehow doing just fine, but their response to help offered by the Indian government was to throw spears, arrows, and rocks toward the helicopter. 2 years later in 2006, two men aged 48 and 52 were fishing for mud crabs near the island. However, the pair got so drunk that while sleeping, the anchor of the boat, which was a rock tied to a rope, fell apart and drifted the men toward North Sentinel. The following morning, fellow fishermen said they tried to shout at the men and warn them that they were in danger. However, they did not respond. They were probably drunk, and the boat drifted into the shallows where they were attacked and killed.
Wow.
A government helicopter was sent to recover the bodies. However, given the tribe's hostility, all they were able to get was this photo, after which a 5.6 kilometer exclusion zone was enforced by the Indian government, making it illegal for anybody to visit the island. This, in combination with every other example so far, paints a very simple picture.
Bro, and they could have no idea about, like, imagine a nuclear war started and fucking 60% of the world died. They wouldn't know. It would just be right. They don't even know COVID was a thing. They don't know fucking world wars happened. Millions of people died.
Island under any circumstances. However, unfortunately, John Allen Chow never got the message. Born on the 18th of December 1991 in the state of Alabama, John grew up in what seemed to be a standard Christian household.
No way this man came here to spread Christianity. Like, did he really think he would survive that? Oh, North Sentinel Island's an illegal place to go to. Everybody that's ever gone there has gotten murdered. The only guy that ever was able to go there had to gain their trust over a 24-year period. And even then, he wasn't even allowed to stay there for one night. Let me go spread the word of Jesus and see how... Oh, no, they won't kill me.
When combined with his religious background, inspired him to become an adventure blogger and Christian missionary. On his Instagram, John displayed his trip...
Imagine they just spoke ancient Greek. Yeah, like that. Somebody just said they speak ancient Greek. That would be so weird. They've lived alone for 60,000 years. They just speak regular Spanish.
Trips to countless different countries, including Mexico, South Africa, and Canada, each of which being documented on his Rugged Trail website. However, there was one location that John had his sights set on, which would make all the others seem insignificant: North Sentinel. He'd grown obsessed with the idea of visiting the island during his previous trip to the Andamans in 2016, and judging from the quotes he posted to his Facebook, John seemed to have been inspired by another missionary named Jim Elliot, who was killed in the 50s whilst preaching to a native tribe in Ecuador. Although, according to the head of the mission he was working for, John was significantly more prepared. All Chow's decisions, including his...
Also, trying to communicate, like, number one, the language barrier is a problem. Number two, you're communicating a religion where you're saying, like, hey, like, there's eternal damnation if you don't... Like, imagine pulling up to an island of people that don't know you and don't speak your language, and you're trying to convey... like, hey, you have to follow this religion, or, like, you might be in eternal torture. Like, you might be in hell, right?
Studies of sports science and training and working as a wilderness emergency medical technician, and classes he took in linguistics and cultural anthropology were in preparation to share Jesus with the North Sentinelese. He was very well prepared for this moment.
No, he was not, dude.
On the 21st of October 2018, John posted this image to social media, showing that he was back in the nearby city of Port Blair, where, unbeknownst to his family, he was planning his trip to what he called Satan's last stronghold, aka North Sentinel Island. On the 15th of November...
Yeah, see, that's already a bad start, right? You're calling the area you're going to, full of hostile people, Satan's last stronghold. So you're going to be pretty aggressive in your way of trying to convert them to Christianity. Let's see how that pans out, chat.
2018, only 25
Let's see how this pans out.
days after landing back in the Andamans, John began a journal to document his trip to North Sentinel, with his first entry stating that a group of fishermen had agreed to take him to the island illegally. I met last night with the fishermen who were all believers and agreed to drop me off. Jonathan won't be...
Yeah, you also probably paid them, bro.
...accompanying me, as they will be at sea doing their regular fishing maneuvers to avoid raising suspicion, and there is a high chance that they get checked by the Indian Coast Guard. The meeting went well. I trust them, though I'm the only English speaker, so there's quite a language gap, and I'm
He only speaks English, and he's gonna go to a... Chat, if you had to fucking convert people to a religion, how are you gonna do that if you don't speak the same language? Like, even if you're like, okay, they get the general gist of, like, you do like a sign of like God and you somehow convey like Jesus on the cross, like then what? They Google Translate. Oh my God.
Was pointed out on the map as being a cove on the southwest of the island, and
or if you've never heard, if you were just born in Mongolia in the middle of nowhere and you've never heard of Christianity, like if you go to hell for that, that's just fucked. Like that's just an unlucky drop.
Part in 3 or so hours. God, I thank you for choosing me before I was even born to be your messenger for your great news to the people of North Sentinel Island. John then explained his plan for first contact by stating, the plan is to link up with the crew tonight and depart tonight, arriving at the shore around 4 a.m. From there, we make progressive contact
4 a.m.? Yeah, let's pull up when it's dark out.
With fish as gifts over the next few days and then send me off. We might even send a kayak laden with gifts towards shore. The following day, John explained that his trip to the island went as planned by writing, at 4:30 we entered the cove on the western shore, which was followed by his first attempt at contact approximately 4 hours later. Around 8:30 I got 2 large fish, around 15 pounds it felt like. I put them on top of the kayak and began rowing. 2 armed Sentinelese came rushing out yelling at me. They had 2 arrows each unstrung until they got closer. I hollered, my name is John. I love you and Jesus loves you.
And this is what it sounds like to them. Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. Like, dude, they don't understand you. My name's John. I love Jesus. Wah, 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 wah.
Jesus Christ gave me the
You're gonna get murked.
Authority to come to you. I regret I began to panic slightly as I saw them string arrows in their bows. I picked up the half tuna and threw it toward them. They kept coming. I backpaddled facing them, and then when they got the fish, I turned and paddled like I never have in my life.
Yeah, throw the fish and dip.
I felt some fear, but mainly was disappointed they didn't accept me right away. I can now say
Dude, what did you think? You read about the island. They kill everybody that comes on the island.
Nearly shot by the Sentinelese, and I've walked on and cached gear on their island. Now I'm resting on the boat and will try again later. John escaped his first encounter unharmed. However,
and then he goes back.
As mentioned in the previous entry, he planned on returning for a second encounter, which miraculously he'd survive once again. I waited my kayak toward the hut I'd been chased from on initial contact. Sure enough, as I got there, I heard—
Why do you think they're so hostile, though? I mean, it is the fear of, like, the unknown. And, like, people that kind of look like you. Like, they're the same. Like, they're also, like, human, like, looking animals. But you've never seen them.
I heard the whoops and shouts from the hut. I made sure to stay out of arrow range, but unfortunately that meant I was also out of good hearing range. So I got a little closer, and as they, about 6—
Dude, he's gonna get fucking domed. He's gonna get fucking domed, dude. He's gonna be holding the— Imagine. You're a North Sentinelese person holding a bow and arrow. I'm the guy, right? Like, dude, they're gonna fucking kill you. They're gonna fucking kill you. You're pointing at a book that they can't read.
From what I could see, yelled at me. I tried to parrot their words back to them. They burst out laughing most of the time.
He tried to say their words back to them.
So they probably were saying bad words or insulting me. I yelled some phrases and sang them some worship songs and hymns, and they would often fall silent after this. Here's when this nice meet and greet went south. A child and a young woman, both with bows, came behind, and I kept waving my hands to say no bows, but they didn't get the memo, I guess. Then a little kid with bow and arrow came down the middle, and I figured this was it. So I preached a bit to them starting in Genesis, and disembarked my kayak to show them that
Oh my god, dude. Like, I don't want to call this man an idiot, but, like, dude. Like, you're speaking to somebody that's... You're saying fucking... Like, you're preaching to them. You're preaching parts of the Bible. Yeah, Genesis, whatever, dude. Any part of the Bible, it's not gonna get across to them.
To have 2 legs. But the little kid shot me with an arrow directly into my Bible, which I was holding in front of my chest. I stumbled back and I recall yelling at the kid for shooting me. I had to swim almost—
yeah. Yell at the kid for shooting you.
Mile back to the boat at the mouth of the cove.
That's really gonna work. Get angry.
The plan now is to rest and sleep on the boat. By this point, John already had an unbelievable story for the ages. He had gone to the island, survived his first day, returned on a second day, was shot by the Sentinelese point blank,
and the Bible caught him. Yo, if that's a fucking sign of God for you to get your dumb ass out of there, I don't know what else is, dude.
After the pages in his Bible decided to spare his life. However, as the journal entries continued, it became obvious that John was happy for his legacy to be the guy who died trying to preach his religion to the tribe. Lord, let your will be done. If you want me to get actually shot—
Bro, but like, in their mind, they killed this guy that was trying to preach. They don't even know what he was doing. This man pulled up, like, he died preaching. Yeah, but like, to them, this guy just pulled up and they killed him. Like, they don't even know that this guy was trying to do something nice.
Or even killed with an arrow, then so be it. I think I could be more useful alive though, but to you, God, I give all the glory of whatever happens. I don't want to die. Would it be wiser to leave and let someone else continue? No, I don't think so. I still could make it back to the US somehow, as it almost seems like certain death to stay here. Yet there is evidence of change in just 2 encounters in a single day. We'll try again tomorrow. The following day, John wrote his final entry in the journal, beginning with, "Woke up after a fairly restless sleep, heading to Ireland now. I hope this isn't my last notes, but if it is, to God be the glory," before going on to write a goodbye message to his family reading, "Brian and Marilyn and Mum and Dad. You guys might think I'm crazy in all of this.
Dude, it looks like he knew he was gonna die.
But I think it's worth it to declare Jesus to these people. Please do not be angry at them or at God if I get killed. Rather, please live your lives in obedience to whatever he calls you to, and I'll see you again when you pass through the veil. Don't retrieve my body. I love you all, and I pray that none of you love anything in this world more than Jesus Christ." Written from the cove on the southwestish, more like west of North Sentinel Island, 16th of November 2018, 6:20 AM. In the days that followed, his family made a post to John's Instagram reading, "We recently learned from an unconfirmed report that John Allen Chow was reported killed in India while reaching out to members of the Sentinelese tribe in the Andaman Islands. Words cannot express the sadness we have experienced about this report. He was a beloved son, brother, uncle, and best friend.
How old was he?
To us. To others, he was a Christian missionary, a wilderness EMT, an international soccer coach, and a mountaineer. He loved God, life, helping those in need, and had nothing but love for the Sentinelese people. As a family, we ask for your understanding and respect for him and us during this time."
Like 20 to 30? I feel like he's probably his late 20s.
Thank you, the Chow family. 3 months later, John's father criticized religion for the death of his son, stating, "If you have anything positive to say about religion, I wish not to see or hear it.
Wow.
John is gone because the Western ideology overpowered my Confucian influence." He blamed evangelicals' extreme Christianity for pushing his child to a not unexpected—
Well, and his Confucianism, a lot of people don't even regard as like a religion. It's more so like a philosophy, right? He's trying to say that like the Western ideology, the Western religion of Christianity kind of got his son into this loop of like needing to help these people, and it ended up getting him killed, which, I mean, he's not wrong. Like, his son died because of this.
End, which is a viewpoint often repeated across social media platforms. John Allen Chow is not a martyr, just a dumb American who thought that tribals needed Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he a martyr? Like, a martyr is when you're like preaching your religion and people understand it and they kill you for doing so. He wasn't a martyr. Like if you look up a definition of martyr, a person who was killed because of their religious beliefs. They didn't kill him because he believed in Christianity. He just died because he went to speak to the North Sentinelese. They don't even know he was trying to convey a religion. I wouldn't say he was like I wouldn't call this man a fucking idiot, but like, dude, like he thought, I don't know why he thought that would work. I can't believe he assumed they would accept him immediately. Yeah, I don't get that part of it, especially since there was that massive language barrier and just the previous history of it as well.